Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Shri Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai. Gaura Hari. And obeisances to all of the devotees coming to join in Chinmoy Dham, Thailand, coming to join in Gupta Govardhan, coming to join in the Gupta Govardhan also of Nabadwip and Nabadwip Dham Parikrama, starting from Koladip, the Gupta Govardhan of Nabadwip, Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mata. And last day of Parikrama and Adivas day, the day before Sri Gaura Purnima. Hare Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Devotees are gathering together, and in Gupta Govardhan also gathering together. And they have more of a challenge than us. They have more electronics to connect up, get working right. So a big challenge always. Govinda. And around the world, in the meantime, we can think, around the world, devotees are busy in preparation for tomorrow and the next day. 2 days of festivals. Today, the Adivas day continuing. And really today would be a very full day in Navadip. Any spare hands of the devotees, anybody not going on Parikrama, anybody who's coming back early from Parikrama, they'd all be engaged in some way in preparation for tomorrow with the decorations and so many other ways for the festival. And I was reminded today how tomorrow is also not only Gauranga's appearance day, but it is Holi, which is a little ununderstandable for most of us from the Western world. But a day when the locals, both in Nabadwip and in Mathura Mandal, Vrindavan, Govardhan, that area, a day when they all love to throw colors on each other. And we do understand it has its origin in Krishna Lila, but how much its origin is remembered today, I'm not sure. On the Nabadwip side, my experience at the Holi festival is more or less a day for naughty youths to be extra naughty with the color, whereas on the western side in Vrindavan and Govardhan, I found it was a day when everyone was happy to come out with their naughty side, including the great-grandmothers and the young children. It actually quite a jolly festival. And we've seen our next-door neighbors, the very old lady on the roof, taking great joy with only 2 or 3 teeth, but she's taking great joy throwing dye from the roof onto the people below walking in. Hare Krishna. So Maharaj, let us come to Chinmoy Dham, where you are seated with the devotees, Maharaj, and let us be with you and hear your Hari Katha, Krishna Katha for today, last day of Parikrama and Adivas of Sri Gaura Purnima.
Right, you want to lead in the Vandanam?
Maharaj, if you wish indeed. So we do short Vandanam to start us on our way. Vandeham, and then
Guru, Sri.
Oh yes, sorry, excuse me. Vandeham, Sri Guru, Yuttapada Kamala, Sri Gurun, Vaishnavans, Sri Rupam, Sagrajatam, Sahagana Raghunathan Vitang Tang Sajivam, Sadvaitam, Savadutam, Harigan,
Krishna Chaitanya Devam.
Radha
Krishna Bhadam, Sahagana, Lalita, Sakhan Vitangscha.
Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Jena Asmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Vancha Kalpaturu Yascha Viprasindu Patikanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. And Panchatattva and Hare Krishna. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And as always, welcome to all of the devotees. If I can be of service to get you a mosquito net or a room or prasadam, I'll do my best from a distance. But welcome to everybody participating. And it's wonderful to see all of you, all your names, and to remember each of you. So a big welcome. We're coming here to Chinmoy Dham, where actually we're being transported to Nabadwip by the Qatar of the Parikramas there, given by Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj. So Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, and all of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Vrinda ki Jai.
Jai.
Maharaj.
Jai Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada. So 1 year before Gaura Purnima, I made many recordings of Srila Guru Maharaj. And it seemed like everything that my heart desired was coming true, which was that there was a favorable current for Srila Guru Maharaj to, in a limited capacity, initiate an ISKCON. There are disciples of Srila Prabhupada who only had first initiation from him, and there was a favorable movement towards him being allowed this limited group of people to give them second, because they hankered for guru connection of the quality match. And the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada finished in the 13th chapter of the 10th canto. The idea was that Guru Maharaj would finish the rest. Guru Maharaj said he did not have the energy to do that, because once Srila Prabhupada said that many can translate, but only I can comment, and Sridhar Maharaj. So everything seemed to be going wonderfully. And then Guru Maharaj made some remarks that did not sit well with the present administration, and everything broke down. And I was in Mayapur at the time, and I feared that there was going to be a knock on the door and my tapes were going to be confiscated. So I left early that year and went to Vrindavan. So I know what Holi is like in Vrindavan. It's like Maharaj described, but also I saw elders who, henceforward only Ram Sundar shall be allowed to dye cloth saffron. And I saw, like, they had a little tray with some colors on it, and they'd see an old friend and touch their hand, and then they'd just go like this on their face, and the other person would go like that on their face, very sweet and gently. And as Maharaj said, that's not the case in Bengal and other places of the young people. And so when later in the Gaura Purnima of 1983 was our deadline for presenting the Search for Sri Krishna, Reality the Beautiful, to Srila Guru Maharaj. And by the grace of Mahaprabhu Nityananda, we arrived as the moon had risen and presented the book to Srila Guru Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj was very pleased and overwhelmed, and he said that it was 50 years to the day, 50 years to the moment that they had presented the book Sri Krishna Chaitanya to Srila Saraswati Thakur. So he said that was very significant. And we turned every page and explained to him what was there. And sometimes he would have me read part of it. I would start reading it, and he would finish what I was reading, because the book is Srila Guru Maharaj. So anyone who feels that they were deprived of his association, you can actually read those books, particularly Search for Sri Krishna, Reality the Beautiful, Sri Guru and His Grace, Golden Volcano of Divine Love, Loving Search for the Lost Servant, Subjective Evolution of Consciousness. And it is Srila Guru Maharaj. Mahayogi Maharaj and myself did minimal editing because we wanted to really have it be Srila Guru Maharaj in his own words. Because he had said at different times that, mildly paraphrasing, that he was born to preach in English. And Gurudev said, Guru Maharaj had a Sanskrit dictionary. It was like Sanskrit, English. So he's always studying that and improving his vocabulary. So when Srila Guru Maharaj uses a word, it's not only acceptable, but precise. And Mark Twain said the difference between an acceptable word and the exact word is the difference between a lightning bug and lightning. So Guru Maharaj is always on the lightning side of things. Because sometimes because my English is not so good and so extensive, so he'd use a word, I'd have to look it up, and it would always be very precise, the meaning. And as we're presenting the book to him, we came to that picture of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the one where they say, if you look at it at a representational, symbolic level, the glasses represent Gyan. He's seated in a half-lotus, the yogi. He's got everything there and showing that devotion reigns supreme. And normally, the caption for a picture like that would be something along the lines of, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, founder of Sri Gaudiya Math and its branches. And that would be appropriate. But I got some inspiration. I wanted to include something that was not in the pages of the book, because we knew we were going to make more books. And so we're trying to include important things. So I put the caption, he declared totalitarian war against Maya, illusion, and even all other existing religions. Right? And I thought, that's a little iffy for a caption. I wonder how Guru Maharaj has me read it to him. And I'm wondering if he's favorable to that. And he said, if you didn't say anything else about my Guru Maharaj, he would be fully represented there. So he really liked that. Kirtan means a fight. Propaganda in favor of Krishna conception against Maya misconception. And Guru Maharaj liked that it was structured. He said, I spoke in a random way. Here's the word samas and vyas. Samas, you've gathered. Vyas, you've given it structure. So it starts with searchers and develops from there. And in the end, what Guru Maharaj called the all-conquering conclusion, Atma Siddha Savalila Purna Soka Lakshanam, the ultimate conception, the ultimate reality in its fullest expression. As Guru Maharaj said to me once, he said, I say the ultimate reality is dancing. What do you say? And I'd never heard an expression like that. And I was sort of thinking, and Guru Maharaj was pleased that I was puzzled. And he said it again. I say the ultimate reality must be dancing. What do you say? And then he explained, Atma Siddha Savalila Purna Soki Lakshanam, that it means Mahaprabhu, because he's relishing in Radha Bhavadyuti Subalita, enveloped by the heart and halo of Srimati Radharani. He's taking Krishna Nam and cannot contain his ecstatic joy, and it's expressing itself as dancing, and he's singing the name outward, so he's relishing it, extending it to others, and dancing. He said the ultimate reality must be dancing there in Mahaprabhu. And I'd heard that Nietzsche, the great atheist, once said, like in a mocking way, if I was to believe in God, he would have to be a good dancer. Gaura Nataraj. So I thought, Guru Maharaj is presenting Krishna conception in such a way that even arguably one of the greatest atheists of all time could believe, right? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we hear Sri Gaurana Matam's Rupa Viditam of Guru Maharaj, Rupa Goswami, Swarupam Bibranam Jagatatulya, says if, and Kaviraj Goswami says openly, if anyone knows anything substantially about Mahaprabhu, because maybe they know some things, but he's saying if anyone knows anything substantially about Mahaprabhu, they must have heard it from Swarup Damodar. That is Sri Gaurana Matam's Rupa. Rupa says, Srupam Bibran Jagatatulyam Advaita Dvaita. Swarupam Bibrano Jagatatulyam. That it can go in two ways. It can say the Swarup of Mahaprabhu is incomparably beautiful, and in this context, exceeding that of Krishna. Because we say Krishna, Yang Shyama Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarup. The inconceivable beauty of Krishna is undeniable and expressed there and so many other places. Lavanyamritasar. Right? So how can you improve on someone who at every moment is infinitely more beautiful? That would seem to be impossible. But, so, predominating moiety, predominated moiety. We hear from Raghunath Das Goswami and Ramananda Samvad the incomparable beauty of Srimati Radharani. And as inconceivable as it may sound and is, if you were to combine the inconceivable beauty of Srimati Radharani with the inconceivable beauty of Krishna, you would have a glimpse of the beauty of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we can say in this context that he exceeds the beauty of Krishna. Rasoddāmā, kāmārbuda-madhura-dhāmojjvala-tanur, jatinām itaṅsastarani koti vidyoti bhasana, hiranyanam lakshmi varanavivakan angikāruca, satchetanna kime punarapi dashor yashati vadam. And Srila Rupa Goswami said, will I behold this divine form again? Rasa, Uddama, kāmārbuda, 10 million cupids in full-blown cupidity, saying incomparably beautiful. And Babaji Maharaj so much appreciated Guru Maharaj's songs and writings that he would sing Prema-dhama-deva-stotram. Guru Maharaj said, why do you do that? And he said, because I find the same quality we find in Srila Rupa Goswami, we find in your poetry. So he said, Svarna koti darpa nava dehu barna gauravam, padma parijata ganda banditanga saurabam, koti kami murchi tangri rupa rasa rangaram, Prema-dhama-deva-meva nomi gaura sundaram. Same. So Rupa Goswami says, Mahaprabhu, how beautiful is it? 10 million cupids in full-blown cupidity. That sort of charm and sweetness. And what does Guru Maharaj say? And you see the similarity, but same but different. Koti kami murchi tangri rupa rasa rangaram. 10 million cupids will faint to see the beauty of Sri Gauranga. That's why Babaji Maharaj is saying, same. So, the inconceivable, incomparable beauty is Krishna has been enhanced by embracing the position of his beloved, his better half, the better half of the sweet absolute, Srimati Radharani. And we're told that like on the Brajamandal Parikrama, that, we can say that when Saraswati Thakur was there, the members ask questions, devotees ask questions, sometimes innocently, and they had been in Radha Kunda area, and one sannyasi said to Srila Saraswati Thakur that we know in the Ramananda Samvad, the shorthand for understanding the position of Srimati Radharani is there. As Guru Maharaj said, quality gives us relief from mathematics. Yeah. So how does Ramananda do it briefly? By saying that in the Rasa Lila, there are various descriptions that there may be millions of gopis, billions, even trillions. There must be. And Srila Gurudev once said very nicely, you want to understand the difference between Krishna and Narayan? Saying, Lakshmi Sahasra, and in Vaikuntha, one Lakshmi for one Narayan. Okay. We see, like Prabhupada's Bhagavatam, the different, how many Vishnus there are, so many. And then Sanatan Shiksha. So one Lakshmi for one Narayan. And what do we hear, Brahma-samhita? Remember, Brahma-samhita was discovered by Mahaprabhu. And Guru Maharaj once said, there are people who say it so much favors Gaudiya Siddhanta that they suspect it was written by Mahaprabhu. And Guru Maharaj said, if that's true, then it's even better. So it's one thing, it was written by Brahma. If it's written by Mahaprabhu, the book just like went up in value. But anyway, you take it, they are the key, and it says, Lakshmi Sahasrasata Sambrahma Sevyamanam. Sahasrasata means millions and trillions of gopis for one Krishna. One Krishna can reciprocate every atom of the hankering of the hearts of millions and trillions of Braja gopis. Such is the nature of the sweet absolute. Yeah. So in that Rasa Lila, let's just say there's 1 trillion gopis. And among the trillion, Vishaka, singing and dancing, superior to anyone thus far. Then after that, Lalita, outshining, superior dancing, singing. And then Radharani, seeing that, she gets some inspiration. She is Gandharvika, Gandharva, singing and dancing. Then, as inconceivable as may be, Srimati Radharani is singing and dancing. And that cancels everything up to that point. And everyone is astonished to see her singing and dancing, Krishna included. And then she leaves the Rasa Lila in a huff, saying like, implying to Krishna, so I'm one of the group? There's 1 trillion here? I'm one of the group. Is that what you think? She's the original woman, right? And she leaves. And Krishna, he doesn't know that at first, and but he notices suddenly, the taste, the pleasure of the experience immediately is like gone down. And he's thinking, what happened? And it was 1 trillion minus 1. Quality gives us relief from mathematics. We would say, from a rational point of view, 1 trillion minus 1, come on, it's 1 trillion. You know, if someone owed you $1 trillion and they were $1 short, you go, I forget it. You know, But here, 1 trillion, this is Ramananda's shorthand. We're saying 1 trillion minus 1, minus the 1, he's lost interest in the trillion. That trillion cannot deliver what she as 1 can deliver. That's the way he's showing how supremely qualified she is. She's not marginally superior. Like when you say, oh, there's 108, and then of the 8, and then there's the 2, and then there's the 1. So you go, like that. But it's saying the magnitude of her superiority is highest level gopis 1 trillion-fold. They're counseled by this 1. So Krishna, we have this in the book too, the search for Sri Radha. he goes searching for her and leaves all the others. So what does it say? From quoting Jayadev and what Mahaprabhu is reading behind closed doors with Swarup Damodar Ramananda, last 12 years of his manifest pastimes in the Gangbhira. Radha Madaya Hridaye Tatyaja Braja Sundari. Taking Srimati Radharani into his heart, Tatyaja Braja Sundari. He tagged all the other Braja Sundaris and went searching for her. So that's the shorthand method for understanding her trillion-fold magnitude of greatness. And then we hear after some time that they're going deeper and deeper into the Vrindavan forest. And just as a sidebar, so think all those gopis are left, because people might decry from time to time Shantarasa or think it's nothing, but all those gopis remain behind. Where they go deeper in the forest, there are trees, there are quote unquote Shantarasa. When Radharani says, I'm really tired from all the singing and dancing. If you want to go further, you have to carry me. And the gopis, when they're tracing the footsteps, they go, oh, she's so fortunate, this one. They never say her name. Unlike, all these people in so-called Vrindavan, they say her name for anything and everything. Why don't they say her name? If that's what you should do, why don't they do that? So who are you following when you do that? They don't. They say, Aradhita, the one who worshiped Krishna the best. Don't they know what you know? I once said to Gurudev, like the devotees who are less experienced and more prone to being seduced, I said, if you ever see the expression Manjari Bhav, just run, right? Because you're dealing with a Sahajya. Only Sahajyas use this expression, Manjari Bhav. It's not anywhere in Narottam, it's not anywhere in any of our gurus. It comes from a Sahajya guru in Radha Kund in the 1950s. Right? And all the others market his poison with different labels on the bottle. Gaudiya Math approved, stuff like that. So I was telling this to Gurudev once. I said, well, I just tell him, if you see the expression Manjari Bhav, run. And he turned and he goes, Maharaj, Radhe. He said, the ones who go, Radhe. He said, it's only the Sahajyas who do that. And then the devotees go, well, we're just following what the people in Vrindavan, Yeah, that's what you're doing. But you're not following, it's not Brajalokānusarata of Rupa Goswami. Anyway, I don't want to, spoil the evening discussing what is not. But Saraswati Thakur, in his Prakrita Rasa Shatadushini, Guru said, he spilled 100 liters of blood to say what it's not. Bolo not, deo not this, won't give that. An actual Rasic guru in the Rupa Nuga line will never give Rasa Shiksha to someone who does not have the adhikar to receive it. That's one sloka, and there are 100 of them. And everything's not this, not that. And you go, well, what is the purpose of this? To make it abundantly clear what it is. What are you saying? It's not this, not that, and just tick off all of them. It's what all of these Sahajyas say, including the ones masquerading as in the Gaudiya line, and Gaudiya Math, and this, that, and the other thing. They're all Sahajyas. They're all imitationists. And some of them have even offended the lotus feet of Srila Guru Maharaj, and Gurudev said, the inhabitants of hell will be fearful to see their face, and they will have to create a new hell to accommodate them. That's what he said. So, Saraswati Thakur, all right, so they're there, and they see, and they just say, oh, this one, she's the most fortunate one. And by the way, it's Raghunath Das Goswami, it's Mukhe Radha Radha Bole Beshe Nayanera Jale Radhe Radhe. He takes the name like that. Accept no substitute. Honor Das Goswami, the Prayojan Tattva Acharya. Do not imitate him. Do not commodify her name. Anyway, so they go, oh, this one, she's the most, look, it's her. And they're looking at the symbols. As Krishna has symbols on his lotus feet, she has symbols on hers. But then they see there's only one set of footprints, Krishna's. And they go, oh, he must have carried her because she was exhausted from all the singing and dancing. And then set her down. And Srimati Radharani is saying like, is there anyone any fortunate than me? Krishna left 1 trillion gopis to be with me. And come search, find me, and be with me. And when she opens her eyes, he's vanished. So, this one disciple, he said to Srila Saraswati Thakur, he mentioned that. And Guru Maharaj said, Saraswati Thakur became enraged and said, why do you mention that? There's no devotion to be found there. And then everyone was like, stop, you're disturbing Prabhupada. So they just left it. Sri Barshabhanavi Devi Dayataya Kripabdaya Krishna Sambandha Vijnana, etc. Barshabhanavi Devi Dayata. Gurudev made Sri Dvaita Das Seva Kunj, that means Saraswati Thakur, who's so dear to Vrishabhanu Nandini, Srimati Radharani, that on the end of 1936, the beginning of 1937, she could no longer tolerate his separation. And she woke up one morning and could no longer tolerate the separation from Nayana Mani Mandriyan. So, but Guru Maharaj, he's observing all of this, and he knows that Srimati Radharani is always in the premier position. Just like Srila Gurudev, he knows whatever Guru Maharaj says is correct. We work from there, not toward that, we work from that. So, he's reading Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Krishna is so astonished witnessing the behavior, qualities, characteristics of Srimati Radharani, how she responds to his name, his touch, his aroma. So, Rupa Goswami said, Aparam kasyapi prane janamindasya kutuki rasoddāmā hritva madhuram upabhoktam kamapiya rucham swama vavre dutim iha tadiyam sad chaitanya devaskritir atitaram na kriyapayatu. Not only one Chaitanyastakam or two, he wrote 3 Chaitanyastakams. So in this one, he's saying, surveying all of them, singling out one, and he's saying, observing her, aroused within him. Kutuki means curious, curiosity. So he's thinking, what is it like being her when she sees me? Because as Adi Purush Govinda, he can only theoretically understand this. He can't feel it. Because Krishna's position is that of an enjoyer. He's the supreme enjoyer, not enjoyed. So he can only theoretically understand the position of the enjoyed. And in his estimation, just as Rupa Goswami says, Bharat and his Bharat Shastra, many wonderful things are there. One thing he got wrong is he says that the enjoyment of the male and the female are equal. And he said, that is incorrect. He doesn't know about this. The joy of the female, in this case, the supreme female, Srimati Radharani, Krishna says, is 10 million times greater than what I'm experiencing. Yet I cannot taste it or feel it in this position as Krishna. Can only understand it theoretically. So for me to taste that and relish that, I would have to adopt her position. And so seeing this, but it's up to, he's already thinking like this. But where was the tipping point? As we know, the great Sanatana Goswami Prabhu says in his Brihad Bhagavatamritam Tika, the actual Rasiks understand the superiority of separation over union. As Gurudev said, even a goat knows the joys of union, but only, not only humans, but higher devotees understand the superiority of viraha, Krishna viraha. Gurudev put it very simply. He said, what is Mahaprabhu's tasting matter? When he comes with, what is he doing? He's endlessly relishing separation. As Adi Purush Govinda, he knows everything, Lakshmi Sahasrasata Sambrahmamanam. He knows everything there is about the joys of union. He didn't come for that. But to plunge the depths of separation, where the heart achieves its greatest depth and yields its most magnificent substance, Krishna Prem, and in the case of Srimati Radharani, Mahabhav. Mahabhav Chintamani Radha Thakurani. She's Mahabhav Chintamani. My God, what is that? Tungamani Mandire, Gurudev said, that song says, the heart, the premic heart of Srimati Radharani, it's like a premic lighthouse illuminating the spiritual world, which is the Seva Mayoyam Loka, revealing service to Krishna. And she reciprocates her serving group with Mahabhav, which is beyond the constitutional capacity of a jiva soul to experience. So Guru Maharaj parsed this verse from the Gita in this new light. Raso bharjam raso pyasya param drisva nivartate. Saying that is the param drisva, the higher taste, superior taste, most superior. So it awakens the curiosity in Krishna. Oh, I was saying the tipping point. So he's already thinking along these lines. Many things. If this is what she's like when we're together, do I dare glimpse Srimati Radharani in separation? So he hides himself in a kunja. He's actually still there. And then observing her in separation under that Imli tree, he makes the final decision to descend as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That was the tipping point. Observing her in separation. That he wanted to experience. Pidabhir navakala kuta katuta garbhasya nirvashano. Rupa Goswami's shloka, the Gurudev said, what is Mahaprabhu's tasting matter? Krishna viraha. But he descends, he wants to do this, and he needs an excuse to do it. So he's saying, oh, it's time for the Yuga avatar. Perfect timing. Right? So we told Sahasra Yuga Parjantam Ahoryad Brahmana. Once in a day of Brahma, Krishna comes, where Treta and Dwapara overlap, because Dwa means two. So it should be Satya, Dwapara, Treta, Kali. Treta means three. But this time it's Satya, Treta, Dwapara. They overlap. Krishna appears in the Dwapara Yuga. And in the Kali Yuga that follows, Mahaprabhu, Radha Bhavaduti Subalita, that Mahaprabhu appears. There's a Mahaprabhu in every Kali Yuga, but not always like this. So how extraordinary this opportunity. Once in a day of Brahma means 4,300,000,000 years. So what just happened, and it just happened 500 years ago, that happens once every 4,300,000,000 years. That's the opportunity before us. So, says it's time for the Yuga avatar. And this is all being arranged by Yoga Maya. Then he hears, Tulo Sidalama Trena Jalasha Chulakena Ba. Advaita charge of the Guru Varga descends first with Tulsi and a palms full of Ganga. He's crying out, because later he'll say, oh, I heard the plaintive cries of Advaita. That's why I've come. Because when he got the mystic letter from Advaita Acharya, where he said, the mad market has been saturated. Meaning, Vishva Gaura Vase Magnam, you've inundated the world with Gaura Prem, Krishna Prem. The mad market is saturated. Ek Bindu Jagat Dubai. So Advaita gives him, he's saying, your public service has been realized. It's public service and private life. Public service, yada yada hi dharma shaglani bhaviti paritanaya saranam, etc. So he came, Bahiranga Sange Kori Nama Sankirtan, Antaranga Sange Kori Rasa Ashwadan. Public service, Nam Sankirtan. He inundates the world in Nam Rasa, but he's delaying allowing these emotions to fully express themselves. And Advaita gives release. And the Mahaprabhu jokes and says, because he says to Swarup Damodar, do you understand what he's saying? And Swarup Damodar does understand what he's saying, but didn't want to talk about it. Because it hints at the wind-up of the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. So Swarup Damodar says, no, I don't understand what he's saying. I don't understand this letter. And Mahaprabhu said, I think Advaita is like one of those people, they commission a deity for a festival, and when the festival's over, they toss him in the pond. We've seen that in Bengal. Like the Durga Puja, they have the big procession and everything, and the last thing they do is throw her in a pond, and then she's made out of mud and melts back into the soil, and they do it again next year. So that's his joke. He goes, I think Advaita is like those people. They commission a deity, that deity being him. And then when they're done, toss him. And Swarup Damodar knows that's not true. But that's the humor of Mahaprabhu. But what he's about to do isn't funny. And it says, from that moment on, his emotional, ecstatic interior started like Richter scale increasing in its magnitude, depth, and expression. And he was saying things like, quoting Rupa, Kwa Ananda Kula Chandrama, Kwa Siki Chandra Kralankriti, Kwa Mandra Murali Radha, Kwa Surendra Nila Duti, Kwa Rasa Rasa Tandavi, Kwa Saki Jiva Rakoshadi, Mama Vidir Suritama, Nidir Mama Suritama, Kwa Bata Hanta Hat Digvidim. But Radharani is cursing her fate and say, where is the Kwananda Kula Chandrama? The moon that rose in the Nanda Kul. Like from that ocean, the moon rose out in the churning of the milk ocean, the moon came out. And she's saying, and from the Nanda Kul, that line, where is that moon? Ananda Kula Chandrama, Shiki Chandra Kalankriti. Who wears the peacock, the Chandra again word, but here now, who wears the peacock feather? That moon-like personality, who wears the peacock feather? Kwam Mundra Muralirava, and the deep sound of his flute makes us quiver and shudder. Kwam Surendra Nila Duti, Indra Nila, who's like a shining blue sapphire. Kwa Rasa Rasa Tandavi. Where is the rasa of the rasa dance? Saki Jiva Rako, and it turns their friend and says, Jiva Rako Raksha, who is the medicine for the miserable life that I lead. Nidir Mama Suritama, I must be cursed. Kwabata, Nidir Suritama, Kwabata. Oh, Digvidim. Dig is like, damn it. I'm cursed to live this life. Those kind of shloka he starts expressing and relishing, and then they know they've got to get him behind closed doors. He can't go around in public like this. So Swarup Damodar, Ramananda, and the Gangbhira. And 24 hours a day, the last 12 years of his now his private life begins, and which we're told is the real purpose of his descent, which is only revealed in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is why he came for this purpose. The Nam Sankirtan Yuga Dharma was incidental. So you think, well, that's the thing that'll really help people. These other things are, no. This is why he came to do this. But being as merciful as he is, saying, I'll do the function of the Yuga avatar. And when that's achieved, then I'll do this. He's delaying. But for the last 12 years of his manifest pastimes behind closed doors in the Gangbhira, the company of Swarup Damodar and Ramananda, diving deep into reality in the words of Srila Guru Maharaj. And these slokas of Rupa Goswami, they're live stream reality. Krishna Viraha, live streaming reality. And that's the tasting matter of Mahaprabhu. Krishna Viraha. So, still, Namo Mahavadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate, Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tasenua, came to save everyone. Day job. Saving the universe, Vishwambaro, Ivadvidvaro, Yugadharma Palo, Bande, Jagat Priyakaro, Korna Avataro. And Astasaki Tunga Vidya, Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur says, Prabhupada liked this verse very much. He goes, taking the straw between my teeth, Dante nidaya tranakam parayorna patya, kritva chakaku ahangi tad sata pranimi, hey sarva sakala eva vihaya durad, Chaitanya Chandra Charane Kurutanuragan. He says, with the straw between my teeth, my dear, I'm begging you, I know you're a very qualified person. You're also very merciful and generous, so I have a favor to ask of you. Could you give me one favor? I'm sure you will. Yes, what is that? Forget everything you know. That is my request. Forget everything that you know and turn your attention to the lotus feet of Gaurachandra, Gaura Hari. So Guru Maharaj said, Prabodhananda is very fervent and intense. And it is Prabodhananda Saraswati who says, remember, Asta Saki Tungavidya, she knows where she lives. She knows what her address is. She knows where she lives. She knows how to get to her place. And she says, Yata yata Gaura Padara Vinde, Vinde Bhaktim Krita Punirasi, Tata Tatod Sarpati Hridya Kasmat Radha Padamboja Sudamburasi. Direct all your energy to the lotus feet of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And what will happen as a consequence? Automatically, those who are Sakritivan, Sumedasa, Yajanti hi Sumedasa, Krishna Varnam, Trisha Krishnam, Sangopangashta Parshadam, Yagye Sankirtana Praye, Yajanti hi Sumedasa, refined theistic intellect, Sukritivan, possessed of sufficient Sukriti. They will recognize the entrance to Vrindavan is in Nabadwip. The entrance into Krishna Lila is Gangora Lila. The Sankirtan of the Panchatattva is the Rasa Lila and distribution mode. So he says, automatically, subconsciously, deep from within the core of your heart, the Radha Rasa Shuddhunidhi begins to flow. By giving your full attention, all your energy, everything to the lotus feet of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Not some perfunctory tip of the topi to Mahaprabhu and then talking about Radha and Krishna. Guru Maharaj said, normal people have more decency. They don't talk about the affairs between husband and wife, man and woman. And he said, and if someone, you want to gain, and we're talking about visa, passport, all these things. You know, if you're being interviewed for a visa, say for America, right? And then at the interview, they go, is there anything you'd like to say? Yes, I'd like to know all the secrets of the American government. I'm very eager for that. I mean, that's why I want to go. How will they respond to that? This person says they want to know all the intimate secrets of the US government. Do you think they will grant you a visa? So for those people, they want to know all the secrets. Oh, Maharaj is telling the secrets. He's talking to the God, and God is telling. And then he's telling what he's telling. Lot of telling. So you think, you want to know the secrets of this, the secrets of that. That alone means you're disqualified. That disqualifies you. They go like, get out of here, you jackass. You want to know the secrets. Who the hell are you? Who do you think you are? That's the response you'll get. That's the kind one. Not really, but I'm working on kindness. But really, just, you know, Guru Maharaj says, I take my stand on spiritual common sense. So he's saying, do you go up to a married couple in this world and say, by the way, could you tell me about the sex life between you and your wife? I'm very interested. I think it would be helpful to me to understand that. You know what I mean? It's a useful thing to know. And I'm qualified. I've achieved purity. one guy said his father told him the facts of life during a Super Bowl commercial. The commercial came out and he said, "You got a loaded pistol, be careful." And then the game went on. So that person is qualified, right? It's going to inquire about the affairs between a married couple. In this world, we would have we would never ask, we wouldn't get into that. But you want to know about the erotic pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Thank you very much. But you wouldn't ask that of anyone in this world, but you expect to know that of that world because some bogus Sahajya imitator started talking to you about it. Right? Someone, Gurudev said, will not be a Vaishnava in 1,000 lifetimes, who is an infectious disease upon the Krishna consciousness movement. Right? The inhabitants of hell will be fearful to see his face. They will have to create a new hell to accommodate him. Thus spake Govindadev Goswami. So Guru Maharaj, when you hear all this, you go, I will be the last man. You can convert everybody, convince everybody. I will be the last man on earth to subscribe to these things. We know, so I got some money and went to the exchange, and some of the bills were not real. And when they gave them to me, I went, they're right. I mean, even I could see that. But if you get a big stack of them, you know, someone stuck in a few here or there, you know. So a counterfeit $100 bill looks like a $100 bill to the untrained eye. Right? And not only is it criminal to possess such thing and punishable, but like what to speak of to manufacture counterfeit, be a counterfeiter, and then pawn that, what has been counterfeited off on unsuspecting people. It's criminal and punishable to counterfeit substance. Same thing. Same thing, but worse. It would be better to like print phony $100 bills than to counterfeit this sort of substance. So Sanatana, and you're thinking like, oh, you're just on some kind of a trip. Well, so was Sanatana Goswami. Avaishnava mukodgiranam putam harikatamritam shravanam naiva kartavyam sarpo chistam yatapayo. In the Gopi Gita, they say, Tava katamritam, tapta jivanam, kavibir iditam, kalmasya apaham, srimad Srimad Mangalam, Bhubi Granati Te Bodhidajana. And they're saying, talking about Krishna is life-saving nectar. You just said, Radharani was crying, saying, Saki Jiva Rakoshadi. Where's my medicine? The medicine is Krishna Katha. Right? They say it's life-giving nectar, relieves all suffering. Like, that's what we should do. So what is Sanatana Goswami saying? Like, no, Shravanam Naivakar, don't hear that from someone who's not a proper Vaishnava. Sarpa uchista. It's snake prasad, cobra prasad. You're getting prasad from a cobra. Who is what's the first demon that Krishna kills? Putana. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in the Chaitanya Shikshamritam that Putana represents the false guru who's come to poison the baby-like sadhaka in the guise of nectar, Prabhu, Rasik. That was like totally Rasik, dude. Right. Poison. Her breath, she looks pretty, buxom. and her nipples are anointed with poison. That's Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Chaitanya. I'm not making this up. He's saying the reason Putana's first is because you got to make it past the false guru, the bogus Sahaja impersonator who's got poison nipples and nourishing baby sadhakas with poisonous substance. And he says, the ones killed by Balaram, Guru will take care of. The ones killed by Krishna, you have to take care of yourself. He says that. Sanatana Goswami, Cobra Prasad. It's Cobra Prasad. Someone's talking about Krishna, and you say, oh, well, anybody else? Yeah, Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj. They bring one of these big, Vrindavan, he's in Vrindavan, So what? They bring the guy there and he goes around doing, 7 days. Probably said Bhagavat Saptaha, where they read Bhagavatam 7 days. He said, it says Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, not 7 days. Nityam. Nityam doesn't mean 7. So they bring, Gaura Kishore does not, this man, no, he's got like a book where he can show all the different people he's read Bhagavatam for, so people will hire him. And he wants to add Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj's name to the list. By the way, what a beautiful name, Gaura Kishore. Like we know Nanda Kishore, we've heard something about, but Gaura Kishore? Anyway, somehow he's forced to sit through that. And at the end, they're all like the devotees always do. They hear someone, saying some nectarine. He's given us the real nectar, right, about Radha and Krishna. Yeah. Right, because we've been mumbling some semblance of Krishna Nam for the last 10, 20 years, so we're qualified. Right? So they say to Babaji, Maharaj, what did you think, Maharaj? He goes, get some cow dung and cow urine and cleanse this place. Like a slaughter just took place. And they're like, what? Yeah, get some cow dung and some cow urine. We have to clean this place. It's just been polluted. No, but he was reciting the Bhagavatam. You heard Bhagavatam. Yes, we have a recording, and you can hear. It's online. It's on YouTube. He was saying Bhagavatam stuff and talking about Radha and Krishna. He goes, that's what you heard. All I heard was money, money, money. So get some cow dung and some cow urine and cleanse this place. What kind of Vaishnava is it? Wait, I thought in the Gopi Gita it says by hearing about Krishna, it's life-saving nectar, puts an end to all suffering. Apparently, it has to be of a particular quality of substance to have that effect. Apparently. Not just literally, but substantially. The Gauranga Nagaris. Right? Narhar Thakur, when I met Guru Maharaj, he's sitting in his chair slapping and laughing away, and he's Gopinam Kuchukum Kamena Yatitam Kambasa Asharanam. He's saying Narhar Thakur is a very unusual devotee. He says to Mahaprabhu, I don't recognize your sannyas. What? No, Keshava Bharati Katva took sannyas. He goes, please. So Krishna of Vrindavan, Krishna has become a sannyasi. God, that's too funny. No one will believe that. And he goes, no, look, I got saffron cloth here. He goes, your cloth is saffron from the kumkum chumena, from the gopis. So much kumkum, look at that. All your cloth is dyed. Ah! Don't talk about this anymore. It's too absurd. Kiba nara hari adhikari, you know. So, what Guru Maharaj is saying, he's peculiar. This is a very unique position. That's the way he plays. But then there's a group of people, they take his book and they're like making a mountain out of a molehill. And they're saying, there are ladies in Nabadwip who expressed erotic sentiments toward Nimai Pandit. That's why you need to hear from Guru Maharaj. So they say, see right here, they're expressing erotic sentiments towards Nimai Pandit. Guru Maharaj said, yes, and he never reciprocated them. So Saraswati Thakur begins his Chaitanya Bhagavat commentary dealing with this. And basically, you read it, but he says, those who want to impose the Krishna position, I mean, male enjoyer, you know, like do so at their peril, not advisable. He did not have erotic relationship with Vishnu Priya, with Lakshmi Priya or Vishnu Priya. Vishnu Priya was 14 when he left home, when he left her. There's none of that. There's no such thing in the pastimes of Mahaprabhu, and they want to impose it on him. So you see how complex this can be. How are we supposed to understand all this or know all these things unless you're in touch with a genuine Vaishnava agent? It's impossible. It's not possible. How can I sit around? I don't know anything. I don't. But I had the opportunity to sit at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, to sit at the lotus feet of Srila Guru Maharaj, to sit at the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev. And by their grace, I can repeat a little bit, a flawed representation of what they have said. It is impossible to really be in connection and maintain connection in genuine Krishna consciousness without the grace of such higher Vaishnavas. So it is our good fortune, you know, can't help it if I'm lucky, kind of thing. They have created our fortune. It's not like we deserve something. I came out of the swamps of New Jersey. Like I like to say, Punkaja, Gaja, because that means a lotus born from mud. But coming in connection with the lotus feet of these Vaishnavas, they're sparsha money, you know, transformative. So you hear the great Vaishnavas say things like, they're very clever. They say, if you really want to test the purifying power, you know, of Nityananda, or, you know, they'll say, if you want to really test whether you're ever then, you know, all these other people, they're not really that bad. So, you know, it's questionable. But if you really want to demonstrate the purifying power, save me. Like Gurudev said very beautifully when he's praising Guru Maharaj on his appearance day, because Vira Chandra is also, and he said, you know, it's said that, you know, Nityananda is more merciful than Mahaprabhu, more merciful than Vira Chandra, more merciful than Nityananda, Vira Chandra, his son. And then, but Gurudev says very beautifully, but more merciful than Vira Chandra is Guru Maharaj, because he saved me. So we always want to be in a position to receive the grace of the genuine Vaishnavas. That is for certain. And it is their custom that, like Guru Maharaj, for him, this is the happiest day of the year, besides Radhastami and Saraswati Thakur's appearance, Bhakti, you know, it's like, the way you can tell is, although he had very little money, on Gaura Purnima, he would buy fireworks and set off fireworks. When do you do that? People do that on New Year's, right? Which is like the biggest celebration of the year. So the biggest celebration of the year for him is Gaura Purnima. That's the day to set off the fireworks and have a grand celebration. And really, it's all the grace of our Guru Varga, and saying what was conceived by Bhaktivinoda Thakur and infused by Srila Saraswati Thakur and his disciples. Vilasatu Riddhi Nityam Bhakti Siddhanta Vani. Even if they tried, they couldn't forget what he said. You know, sometimes what the Guru says kind of goes in the periphery. Vilasatu Riddhi Nityam Bhakti Siddhanta. May his words always play upon our hearts. His words always playing upon the hearts of his sincere followers. Then His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, presents himself fully on the altar of self-sacrifice with zero resistance to divine current. Divine power comes down and passes through him and his disciples in the form of the modern-day Krishna consciousness movement. And after his disappearance, on his advice, we took shelter of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, who revealed to us the nature, the qualities, the characteristics, the depth, the magnitude, the value of what Srila Prabhupada had given us. Right? He said, like when orphans, you know, you have little kids, they don't know, their father's like, what's the difference between a millionaire and a billionaire? Father leaves them around, you know, he left you everything. They don't know how extensive his holdings are. It was like that. Prabhupada gave us everything, but we didn't understand the depth, the magnitude of his gift, and the quality, characteristics. That was revealed by Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Prabhupada would say, I have brought you rough things. Like what comes to mind is the diamond and the rough. And he said, you finish them, polish them, turn them into shining diamonds. That was his idea. So we're reminded of that on this Adibas, and we have to say too that we said Advaita charge appeared, but if we read Charitamritam, we also find Srila Madhavendra Puri. And Madhavendra Puri, this important part in the Madhya Lila, because Mahaprabhu, after he takes sannyas, we know he wants to go to Vrindavan. In Chaitanya Bhagavad, there's one saying, don't go now, go to Puri. Krishna's in Puri, you can go later. It says that, a voice from the sky. So he's, after taking sannyas, Kahan Krishna Prananath Murali Badan Khan Karun Khan Pan Vrindavan, he's making his way toward Jagannath Puri. Where's the first place he goes? Remuna. It's not an accident. What is that? The place of Gopinath. But why? Oh, Kirchor, Gopinath, Gopal, yes, all of that. But what happens in the end, I'm fast forwarding, is the final dream of Madhavendra Puri when Gopal says, now that he's got the chandan and the karpur, the camphor, and he's saying, actually, Gopinath and I, same, you just give to Gopinath, and I get it. Said to not make him have to walk, he is walking 1,000 kilometers. So and he's very and the attendants of Gopinath are very happy. And then, so remember, what's the keynote here? Sandalwood is going to be ground, churn, you know, that's what it's. So they're going to take the sandalwood and extract the essence from that. That's what happens. You put the rose water, whatever, on the sun, and you rub the sandalwood, rub it in there, and then gradually the aroma, its essence comes out. And it's not incidental. That then, and what does Kaviraj Goswami say? At the time of the disappearance of Madhavendra Puri, this poetry came from his divine lotus mouth, the supreme rasa kavya. He's saying, It's the supreme verse of rasa poetry. Okay. Oh, it must be very intimate. And it's the supreme verse. And what did it say? Ai dina dayadanate maturnat kadavalaksha. Radharani in separation, saying to Krishna, it's in separation, first of all. That tells you what you need to know. The supreme verse is about separation. She's saying, how will I go on? Same, asli shiva paratam panastamam adarshanam marmatam karotuba yata tata ba vadadatu lampato mat prana natastu. Krishna consciousness is about how you go on, adarshanam. In separation, Krishna's not appearing before you. That's the test. The other stuff is easy. How do you go on in the absence of Guru? How do you go in the apparent absence of Krishna? That's the critical point. And that's what appears. She's saying, how will I go on without you? And so he says, only Mahaprabhu, Radharani, and Madhavendra Puri understand there's not a fourth man to be found. But understand, Mahaprabhu means his lion. Rupa Goswami knows, Swarup Damodar knows, Guru Maharaj knows, and Gurudev knows. And Gurudev told me once, he said, Guru Maharaj told me, but I'm not telling. And then a few days before he left, he told me, he said, but this much I'll tell you. He said, the key words are deen and doya, fallen and mercy. And sometimes Gurudev would say, there's only two things we know for sure, that we are fallen and that Krishna is merciful to the fallen. So there's hope. And so I conclude with, on this hopeful note, on this Adivas of Sri Gaura Purnima. Hare Krishna. Madhusudan Maharaj, please.
I can express on behalf of everybody the joyful nourishment, Maharaj, to hear the message that you wanted to tell, and we hopefully all have received.
I'm just calling balls and strikes.
I don't know what that means, but it was good. It's a good thing to do. Keep on doing it, Maharaj.
I'm just doing what I'm told. Most of the time. Sometimes I'm not. But my finer moments, I'm doing what I'm told.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, we are feeling that we have fine moments to hear these things. And Maharaj, this is exactly what Gaura Purnima is about what is Krishna consciousness about, and especially Gaura Purnima, the Parikramas, to focus on Gauranga's gift. And when we see through your felt expression, Maharaj, to everybody, that how important this very time is, the time that is in our hand now, so rare and so valuable to the extreme, then let us all try to be Krishna conscious, Gauranga conscious as the priority in our lives. So, Maharaj, would you like at least once on our parikrama, a touch of the parikrama, Nagara Brahmiya Amar Gaura Elo Ghore? Is that acceptable to sing at this time? It is the conclusion of the parikramas, the devotees return to the temple.
As long as you sing it.
Maharaj, I have no one to sing it with. I'm going to be sitting here.
Who can sing that? Maybe someone in Gupta Govardhan.
Bhakti Lalita Devidasi can sing, I think. And there is Sankarshan Prabhu, the devotees are there. In the songbook, it's page number 299. It's Nagara Brahmiya Rama Gaura Elo Ghore Gaura Elo Ghore Amar Nitai Elo Ghore.
Please continue singing it, Maharaj. That's just how it goes.
Well, it is, but you've got some kartals and mridangas there, Didi. So kindly, from your side, We will feel, you are also in Gupta Govardhan, we shall feel the mood of the Nabadwip Gupta Govardhan, the devotees returning. And this last day of the Parikrama, a lot of devotees are quite exhausted and returning to the temple covered in sweat, covered in dust of the Dham, and having completed the Nabadwip Dham Parikrama. It's very beautiful. So kindly, special request to Gupta Govardhan.
I'm going to have Ekadashi sing it, and Goswami Maharaj, don't mind, but they sing this in the tune that's sung Yayani Lo Prema-dhana. This is how it's sung. And I'll have Ekadashi sing it.
Chintamani Dham, and Chintamani Dham can sing Hari Haraya Nama Krishna. We saw many devotees there. Paramananda Prabhu can sing.
Madhusudan.
Jai Saprikarshi Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhava Govinda Sundar Ju Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Mata Ki Jai, and Jai Saprikarshi Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Sundar Ju Ki Jai, Shri Gupta Govindan Mandir Ki Jai. And can I add Jai Saprikarshi Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhavika Gopinath Ju Ki Jai, and Shri Giridhari Balagopal Ju Ki Jai. And Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gurudev Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. And Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Guru Maharaj Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rapak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Guru Vaga Ki Jai. And Jai Vishwarani Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Shri Nabadwip Dham Parikrama Ki Jai. Jai Shri Nabadwip Dham Mahatmya Ki Jai. Jai Shri Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. And Jai Shri Yoga Pitti Jai. And Jai Shri Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Vrindavan Ki Jai. With us today, Bhakti Shripad Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj Ki Jai. Bhakti Lalita Devi Rasi Ki Jai. Paramananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Vilasu Ki Jai. All the senior devotees, all the senior, junior, whatever devotees, all devotees Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Prema-dhama-deva-stotram.
Jai Srila Prabhupada Madhusudan Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Sriman Ki Jai. Raman Guru Ki Jai. Jai Gaura Prema-dhama-deva-stotram.
And wishing you all a wonderful Gaura Purnima and festival the next day, given in honor of Jagannath Mishra's festival the next day. Hare Krishna. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Jai Jai Jai. And happy to see everyone joining in with the chanting, the kirtan all over the world, originating from Chinmoy Dham and Gupta Govardhan. Well done. Hari Hari. Yes, Abhasi, look all the devotees. Jai. Dandavat to you all. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Amra Ashchi.